Hello everybody, today I'm gonna rank every Squadmate from the Mass Effect Trilogy based on my experience with the games, and I will not just judge the character based solely on their story or their character, but based on combat too. I'll try to make a balanced in a sort of way. Alright, so here are the tiers, Bros for Life, aka my favorite characters. I will watch their backs, characters that I care about, and I will never let them die. Decent, they could have been better, but they in the end are decent. Meh, uh, like like the tier says, they are not really special, but kind of boring to me. I don't really care about them that much. And finally, Schultz had died on Vermeer, aka my least favorite character, which only one is gonna be here, and that is Jacob Taylor. One, the most boring character in the entire trilogy. Even more boring than Kaidan in Mass Effect 1. Kaidan was boring in the first game, but he had at least a few interesting topics to talk about with him. And in Mass Effect 3, he gets better, a lot better. But Jacob does nothing. He's not good really at anything. Even in combat, he gets killed easily. And in the story, the worst part is if you are romancing him with Femshep, he will cheat on you. Which, yeah, you can cheat with your shipper, but I don't do that because I stay loyal to the romance I started. So yeah, Jacob, you should have died on Vermeer, bro. Let's see next. Garrus, obviously, where else you can put him? He's there from the start, and my favorite romance in the trilogy. Yes, actually, my favorite romance from the trilogy. He is like a boyfriend, but also a best buddy kind of dude. And in combat, he's very good, an efficient sniper. And not much to say about him, just that it's kind of a wasted potential what they did in Mass Effect 2 with him in a little way, because in the first game, doesn't matter if you convince him to be a better person or something, aka the Paragon way, or convince him the killing is more efficient or something like that, aka the Renegade way, because he will turn vigilante anyway. So that's what I feel like they wasted. And otherwise, he's excellent, a very good character. Let's see next, Thane. Thane is decent. I don't hate him, but I don't like him a lot. Like who's gonna be here and here. His backstory is really cool. An assassin that prefers to kill quickly and show a merciful death to their target instead of, I don't know, killing them slowly or something like that. And yeah, he's probably, I think, the most tragic romance if you romance him with Femshep, which I did not because I do not want to cry. But it's a very good romance, and gameplay he's kind of an alternative version of Garrus in Mass Effect 2. I don't really use him that much because I mostly play Vanguard with biotics, and his biotics are not really that good in my opinion. But yeah, overall decent character. I don't have anything else to say about him. Grunt, he's like the kid he's a kid in a way, and he's just funny. I don't have really anything to say about him. It's just that I think he has the highest health of all the squad mates in Mass Effect 2, and he can take a lot of hits in combat, which is very good, especially if you play a class that is more weak, like the engineer, infiltrator, or the sentinel. I mean, weak base that you don't have a lot of health like that. But yeah, otherwise he's a very funny character and makes me laugh almost every time I talk with him. I like his dialogue a lot, but not one of my favorite. The title of Best Krogan goes to Rex. Unfortunately, you can only use him in the first game, outside of the Citadel DLC in Mass Effect 3, which is kind of a shame, really, because he should have been a squadmate in Mass Effect 3. I understand why he wasn't in the second game, but still. And he has a secret quest in the first game to recover his family armor, and and that's probably one way to convince him to not turn against you on Vermeer, even though I think that confrontation is kind of stupid, because if you talk with him, he'll say that Saren is rotten to the core and etc. But anyway, still a very good character, one of my favorites, especially Mass Effect 1, where I mostly use these two, Garrus and Rex, because they just work very well together. Liara Tessoni. I'm honestly not that big of fan of her because in general I don't like the Asari that much. One of my least favorite races in the games. They feel broken, overpowered, or something like that, and I don't know. She was kind of fine in the first game, but afterwards I don't really like her that much. But I don't hate her. And combat, she's very good in combat. That's a good thing I can say about her. And otherwise, not much really. Just that it feels like Bioware has just wants you to romance her because she has the longest cutscenes in a romance or something like that. Oh, and also probably the best romance in the first game because it's either or Liara, Ashley, or Kaden, which is kind of obvious which you take. Hmm, Javik. Um, Even though in Mass Effect 1 Vigil says that there are no Proteans left, I feel like this excuse is but Javik is an exception because he's a trollish character in a way. He's kind of a dick, an asshole, but the more you talk to him, the more you understand why he is that way because essentially he is the last protein in existence, so he has all the right to be pissed at the Reapers, and uh, and also the confrontation between him and Liara also makes Liara seems more like childish because, in my opinion, she does not have the right to judge him when he's the only person of his race left in existence. Anyway, in combat he has those weird green biotic powers, which are very good in my opinion. One of the best characters to take in combat in Mass Effect 3. And otherwise, not not. I don't really have anything to say else about him. He's just very funny. He also says a lot of jokes sometimes. Let's see next. Jack. Not a fan of Jack either. I understand why she's like that, but I don't have to like it. You know what I mean? In combat, she's kind of weak, and she's killed really easily. And in general, I don't really have use for her in combat. I romanced her once, which was fine, but not really special for me, really. James. Basically, the tutorial squad may like Jacob, only that he's not that terrible like Jacob. But the only thing I really don't like is that doesn't matter what you pick, when you play as Femshep, he will almost always flirt with you, even if you romance someone else, which kind of feels awkward, really. And yeah, unfortunately he replaced the Krogan type of squadmate in Mass Effect 3. And I think he's the tankiest squadmate in that game, excluding the Citadel DLC. And not much else to say about him. He's kind of funny, but in rare occasions, and I like his talk with Cortez. And yeah, that's it. Okay, then the most boring squadmate in the first game. He's really that bland, but very useful in combat. And outside of that, he's probably the most not the most straightforward person, but he's kind of honest and something about that. In Mass Effect 3, he changes. He's more interesting. I don't know how to say it in any other way. And and his dialogue gets a lot better, especially in the DLC. He just gets a lot better in the third game. Kasumi, again, not a really interesting character. I feel like she's just the ninja stereotype character, and not really much to say about her. Though probably one of the best loyalty missions in Mass Effect 2, so that's one thing good about her. But otherwise, one of the weakest characters. The only thing she can do is to cloak and one-hit punch and grunt. Excuse me, an enemy. Besides that, she's not really. I don't really like her that much. Legion. Unfortunately, I would have put Legion here if Bioware didn't haven't had gotten him killed. I feel like he was wasted in Mass Effect 3 and in Mass Effect 2 in Mass Effect 2 in a way, because you get him so late in game when you almost done the story. That's why I feel like that. And originally I think he was available early, but for some reason he's not. He's only available late game as the last squadmate you will take. And in Mass Effect 3 he was killed for shock value only, just to make us cry, because we could have used him as a squadmate, but I think they did it because of ED. But personally, I prefer Legion in general. And also the shock for the first time when you play Mass Effect 2 after playing the first game, and the majority of the enemies in the first game are gets. So yeah, he's a really likable character, but unfortunately he can't be here because he does not make an appearance, that he does not appear that often. Ashley Williams, again, she's not so terrible like Jacob. I feel like people give her too much crap, and like she's racist or xenophobe or something like that, but I think she really does not trust aliens. If you at least try to play with her a playthrough both Mass Effect 1 and 3, you will see that she trusts Garrus and Telly. Well, she trusts them the most because they have been with you from the start. And probably one thing that actually makes me like her a bit more than before is that if you romance her in Mass Effect 1, but then kind of cheating on her, kind of, with Tali in Mass Effect 2, and then still going with Tali in Mass Effect 3, she will not have a problem with it, because she's she she's she sees Tali as a little sister, and she's happy for her. Speaking of Tali, I'm sorry, Tali fans, but she's not she's not my she's not one of my favorite characters. She's not really in this tier, but she is a very good character, a very good story in general, and my favorite loyalty mission in Mass Effect 2, because you can shout at the council there and make the Quarians mad at them. or something like that. And she's kind of funny sometimes, and yeah, probably the weakest squadmate in probably the weakest squadmate in combat, however, because she dies extremely easily. But she has her drone, which is very helpful to distract enemies. And besides that, I think enough about Telly has been said. Let's move on. Miranda. Again, not really a fan of her. I believe she's just for the dudes that want a hot girl or something like a romance. If you don't want Telly or Liara, which is fine, really. But I don't really like her that much. She has a decent story about her sister, but beside that, nothing much really. Mordin. Mordin combat wise, he's weak as hell. He yeah barely has anything useful in combat, but as a character in story, he's very good. He's very good, especially his sacrifice in the Mass Effect 3 with the Genophage cure, and yeah, I don't think. Hmm, I was a bit struggling to think if I should, but he's just fine there. I don't really have much to say about Mordin, except that he has one of my favorite dialogues in the series, especially Mass Effect 2, where you can, when you talk about art with him and something like that, he will sing that famous song of his, which is very funny in my opinion. Next, we have Samara. Again, not a fan of her. Just that the only noticeable thing about her is that she's the only MILF in the series, and that she does not want to start a relationship with you if you want to romance her. Maybe the end, but in Mass Effect 3, especially in the Citadel DLC, you will get to have a nice chat with her, and she becomes a bit more vulnerable, and she opens up, which is very rare for her to do, which I found it very nice and very wholesome. But besides that, I feel like she just replaced for Liara and Mass Effect 2 because we need an necessary squadmate. She is fine, really. Not that much. Edie. Edie is fun in her own kind of way, even though she was made of Reaper tech, which, yeah, it's kinda. Even though some jokes of her kinda are not that good. Combat wise, she's kinda useless, really. But outside that, I like her dialogue, her relationship with Joker, and that's it. I don't really have anything to say about her. And finally, Zaid. Zaid is basically your alternate tank if you don't want Grunt to take Grunt with you on a mission in Mass Effect 2. He kills quickly and dies slowly, dies hard. And his loyalty mission is very good. In general, I prefer to do the renegade option because that's what you came there for, not to save anyone. He only says, "Hey Shepard, you need to kill this blue sun bastard that betrayed me years ago." And you say, "Okay." And outside of that, he does not have that much of dialogue, but I like his dialogue about weapons and his trophies, if I say it right. And in Mass Effect 3, he only appears once outside of the party, which is unfortunate. Same with Kasumi, but uh, he kind of he kind of plays as your excuse me. He kind of plays like your not bodyguard, but like the tough dude that if you don't want to accept the deal, he will beat you up, which I find it funny in that Mass Effect 3 scene. And let's edit a little to have the more preferable, the ones I like more are on the left, and the ones that I like the least are more on the right. Yeah, alright, here it is. That's fine. And here, I feel like this fits a lot better. So in general, this is my tier list for Mass Effect for Squadmates. If you have your own list, please let me know, and please do not be triggered if a character you like is not higher, or if you think a character should be lower. Please do not get triggered or something like that. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. Goodbye.